Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly.
right, good morning. I will call to order this Downtown Development
Hello,
Authority
and welcome
board
to this live
meeting,
stream of
Wednesday,
today's
August
public meeting.
14th at
To you by Downtown.
9:01. First, I need a motion to amend the agenda to add,
To include this memorandum of understanding in front of you.
yes. That's what I said. Let the minutes show.
Hi, Chair.
Hi.
Sorry, I was yapping.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, where are we putting this on the agenda, by the way?
It'll be item 4.
4,
So
okay.
after minutes and state.
All right. So then the second order of business is to approve the July 10, 2024 minutes, which were in our packets. Any questions or corrections? Yes.
We did have one correction. It was pointed out that Member Foley was not in attendance last month, so we'll make that correction with your approval. Okay.
Any others? I'd entertain a motion then to approve as amended.
So moved.
Support.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next, the June 30th, I assume preliminary statements. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, the statements are preliminary. There are a few year-end entries that have not been done yet, although I did try to reflect everything that I knew was coming as best I could so that you would get a pretty good, accurate picture of where we're going to end the year. There is a large receivable in the local tax fund. You can see $799,000. Most of that is for the Greenway, the admin piece of the Greenway grant for expenses that were spent by that fund in FY24. That's on Statement A. Statement B, you can see that revenue coming in, assuming that it's collected within 60 days, it'll remain as revenue. If not, another entry will come and that'll defer the revenue that is being shown there. Non-tax fund went through 99.9% of its budget. Local tax fund went through 89.4%. I'm happy to take any questions on the regular statements, but I kind of want to go over, if you notice, there was a new statement after the list of payments. Those are in the memorandum of understanding that's coming up. It requests that this information is provided to the board at the meeting, so you can see where the bond money is at. Lion Square, you can see we're about halfway through that construction fund. And with the amphitheater, we have paid cost of issuance, but we haven't paid for any construction invoices yet. And I'm happy to take any questions if you have any.
So moved.
All right, any other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Motion carries. We are now on amphitheater bonds MOU. Mr. Kelly, you want to tee it up?
Yes, I will tee this up and take any questions. Tricia kind of alluded to it. This is really sort of an administrative step. So we approved DDA tax increment revenues toward the Acrisure Amphitheater back in February. City has now issued the bonds. They have the funding. What we want to do now is put a structure and process in place for how those funds are devoted to the project and how the CAA is ultimately reimbursed for construction of the facility. It also includes steps around invoice processing, reporting requirements, as Tricia alluded, and then establishing a committee so that during the project construction and ultimately once the project's built, there's an ongoing conversation and the DDA has a seat at the table. So a lot of other information in there, but I'll pause there because that's sort of what's going on at a high level.
Any questions on that?
Perfect.
Yes.
Chair, just an encouragement, I know we had conversations back in February on this, but just an encouragement on things, particularly the size.
maybe in the future of having a pro forma associated with it. I think those of us who have seen the budget and are familiar with it understand how it will flow, but obviously it's a big potential obligation, and just having coupled with it sort of a pro forma of how it would work would be a good practice. But no questions or concerns with this, given previous conversations.
A pro forma
On the
the
economics.
amphitheater?
On the DDA's obligations and revenue and how it would meet those obligations.
So a bond.
It's in the
payment
budget.
schedule.
Yes.
There is
With
an
revenue.
Yeah.
I think if I'm hearing you right, there is an amortization schedule for our obligation as part of the debt payment, and that will be an attachment to the MOU.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was supposed to attach it.
Okay.
But I think you're also asking then, how does that track toward the overall DDA priority plan, and how does that work then?
Yes, and within the budget.
Yeah.
And just as a reference document, because obviously it's a rather large obligation we're signing up to.
Yep. I think we can do that. And I know the FY25 priority plan, we did have the line item in there, so I think
Yep.
once the 25 statements are being prepared, it'll show up in there, so.
Specific line item.
Yeah,
Right.
but I appreciate you trying.
And that's though, as I understand, was for a singular budget year. This is a multi-year
Yep.
obligation, and so the assumptions we have around revenue trends to marry up to this. Obviously, we had to give it to the other authorities, I assume.
I
for
don't sound like I'm
creditworthiness.
arguing, but we do a 5-year look forward, so that'll be a specific
Yep.
line item for 5 years out as to what that's gonna cost us, correct?
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
Just thought.
Yeah, thank you.
so I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
All right, any other comments or questions?
Yes. Like an example.
All right, we'll duly sort of maybe reprimand our attorney for not attaching the appropriate document.
We can add
So we-
I'll send it today.
and in her defense, this all came together on Friday.
Having said that, having said that,
In her defense, the election was like 10 days ago.
that's true.
Brian, see what you caused?
Actually, it was 8 days ago. It was 8 days ago.
All in favor?
Blur.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Motion carries. Holiday lighting, yay.
Yay.
Christmas.
Love the holiday.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Before I jump in, I'd like to point out I have 2 things on the agenda today, and neither of them are trees or wayfinding, so it's very exciting.
Wait a minute, that's not a, we can talk about trees.
I don't know, Rick didn't seem very happy that we were talking about trees and wayfinding last time. It's going to be in the mid-80s today, so I thought it'd be a good day to talk about holiday lighting. Think about winter. So we've been doing holiday lighting since about 2014, and every year we seem to expand it and change up a couple of things. Last year, big replacement on Monroe Center. We replaced all the bulbs and string lights going on the trees and light poles last year. So this year, more of the same, deploying to all the areas that we've deployed before. If you've been down to Rosa Parks Circle and you've seen the light tunnel, it is on its last leg. It was last holiday season. It probably won't survive being deployed this holiday season. So we are going to, in this ask is for a new light tunnel to go at Rosa Parks Circle, made of something that's not PVC pipe smashed together in prayers. So you can kind of see here in this picture, it's actual like steel and metal sort of screwed together, so it should stand up for a while. And we're actually going to do 2 of these. So we're going to replace the one that's existing at Rosa Parks Circle, and we're working with the Parks Department to actually deploy one of these at Monument Park as well. Exact location is TBD, sort of depends on where the power is over there. But we thought it would be a good addition to Monument Park as sort of the end cap of Monroe Center on the other side, as well as the Children's Museum being over there, being something fun for kids and families to interact with, as well as hopefully something that will kind of draw folks from Monroe Center to Monument Park, and hopefully we can push them down South Division. Not a lot of changes other than that. So the ask today is for an amount not to exceed $80,000 for the deployment of the holiday lighting prior to the ice skating kicking off at Rosa Parks and the purchase of 2 new tunnels and some additional materials to replace some items that are no longer viable. With that, I'll take any questions you all might have.
Anybody in trouble? The reference of I took over the holiday decor 10 years ago. Who do we take it over for, and is this now like a permanent part of our?
That's a great question. I have no idea. I wasn't here then, so I'm not sure who was doing it.
I believe it was the downtown Alliance.
The down, yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Which is the organization that was overseeing that did, right?
Yeah, they were the management for the, just for the.
Yeah.
Okay. Just curious.
So yeah, this lives with us now.
Okay.
Unless you'd like to take it over. We're happy to give it.
Any other questions?
I just have a question.
Yes.
Are we all set for the Christmas tree lighting? I feel like every year there's a question mark about that. Is the city leading on that?
Yeah, that would be the city leading.
Okay, all right, I'll follow up.
Anything else? All right, I'd entertain a motion to approve, not to exceed 80,000.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. On to even bigger and better things. Trash cans.
Trash cans. So, quick history. Back in 2019, our team developed the Streetscape Guidelines, which sort of created a strategy and overall sort of direction for us to implement street furniture, fixtures, things like that. So we've been slowly implementing that since 2019. Part of that plan actually calls for the SODIV or South Division trash cans that are existing to remain out. However, in the last 5 years, there's been a lot of change at both the HDNA and the HBA. Both of those groups approached us about changing the infrastructure. So if you're unfamiliar with the infrastructure on South Division, it's these plastic Polytech 40-gallon cans. And part of that project back in 2016, I believe, was to deploy these cans and to add this sort of art element to them from the local community. As you can see, they're not faring very well, having been out there for quite a long time. The art gets vandalized, gets stolen, the clips don't stay on very well, and honestly, the plastic trash cans just really aren't holding up to standard as we would want them to. And as you can imagine, both the HDNA and the HBA would like something that's a little more sturdy and better reflective of their business district. And so we're proposing to move to the Austin can, so it has has the same capacity, 42 gallons, and it's also outlined as an acceptable replacement for trash cans in our Streetscape Guidelines. The art element that was on this can will also be a feature of this future can. However, it will be applied to vinyl and attached directly to the trash can so that it's harder to vandalize. The exact details of how that art will come to be and that plan is still in the works and being developed by the HDNA. But this is sort of the can that we hope to get out. It'll be with approval today, we'll order it, and then it'll be shipped to us in about 10 weeks, and then our ambassador team will remove the existing cans, salvage the art that's on them, return the art to the HDNA, and then deploy these cans along South Division. So the ask today is for an amount not to exceed $70,000, which is for 30 cans to replace all of the existing cans on South Division, as well as replace some temporary cans that exist on South Division and fill in some gaps that we have identified where we would like a trash can, but one does not exist today. With that, I'll take any questions that y'all might have.
Yes.
What's the Austin?
This is the style of the can.
So Mark's even bringing the garbage cans from Austin? Is he leaving anything there? I mean,
Don't give him that much credit.
To be fair, we had Austin cans in downtown before Mr. Washington came on board.
Any other questions? All right. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
support.
All right, hearing support, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Motion carries. Next is Community Rebuilders presentation. Good morning, Ms. Beach.
Good morning. It's great to see all of you today. Thank you so much for this chance to update you on our geographically targeted outreach project. I hope that you had a chance to look over our most recent quarterly report. Our targeted efforts over this last quarter have been focused on Veterans Park, and we've got some boundaries that have been identified. For the north, our boundary is Fulton Street East. For east, it's Ransom Avenue Northeast. South, it's Weston Street Southeast, and then west, Division Avenue North. It was a really pivotal, important choice to look at this area. And really, it highlights, first of all, our focus on data, where we gathered a lot of insight and data from our outreach workers across the community, learning a lot about the particular areas that we're seeing a large street population, sleeping on the street, and the vulnerabilities of the persons in those areas was also considered. So working with the city and the outreach workers, this area was identified, and we are happy to be able to make an impact in that area and really utilize data to make those kind of decisions. Since last June, we've engaged with 31 households in this initiative, and we have transitioned 61% of those households, or 19 households, to permanent housing, and they are no longer part of the project because they are permanently housed in housing within our community. An additional 8 households, or 25%, are actively transitioning, and that means they're in the housing search process and they're residing in some of our short-term housing accommodations at this point. One of the things that's really critical that we'd like to focus on, and that sometimes people miss not being in the homeless arena, and we can adjust our language a little bit, is the importance of the number of contacts it takes to get us to that point of engagement. On average, it's been about 1 contact. So if you think of the cost savings of all the dollars that in our system go to doing outreach on the street, when we do housing-focused outreach, 1 engagement is often all that is needed to get people to move into and begin working on a housing plan with us. So when the right resources are in place, we know that we can quickly move persons off of the street. So despite all of the great successes in this project, we also need to acknowledge some of the challenges. This reminds us that it's a difficult course to do this work. And we had 3 individuals since the project start that we've lost contact with. I can tell you that in those situations, there was an element of mental health issues and criminal activities that were part of kind of those situations. And this really highlights the urgent need for us to focus on strategies and efforts that can offer specialized intervention and support. I'm also pleased to share that collaboration has been a really part of this project, and not just through funding that comes from this wonderful group, but also with our community partners. And we've seen a number of challenges, particularly with mental health responses and the needs of the population that we're serving. And this quarter, we saw some really inspiring results with Catherine's Health Center. And so we're excited over this upcoming quarter to really work on how do we hone in on what is having an impact on this particular population and make sure that we can make that available so that we don't lose 2 people in the process of housing everyone. The area around Veterans Park is more than just a community hub, as you know. It's vital to the economic fabric of our community. And our work not only stabilizes the lives, but it does bolster the local economy. And we are pleased that you have supported us to really continue to make sure that we have a vibrant community where street homelessness doesn't exist. We know that we can eliminate homelessness through this work. We hope we've earned your continued trust and support. Our dedication is unwavering, and the outcomes, I think, speak volumes to the importance of doing this work. So thank you for your continued support. We hope to see you continue that support in upcoming efforts, and I'm open to answering any questions that you might have.
Any questions?
Vera, always good to see you. Thank you for your work. I always tell people Community Builders is one of the best organizations we have in our city doing this really hard work.
Thank you. That means
I have a couple questions. First, thank you for the data. It's really helpful. My first question is related to any updates on the Nexus project.
Yeah,
maybe you can
absolutely.
tell for folks around this table that don't know about that. It's a great partnership, and I think will create a space for individuals who have been struggling both with chronic homelessness, but who are also currently unsheltered. So maybe if you can give an update on that. And then my second question is related to outreach and better coordinated outreach. I know when we first started this initiative, there was a lot of fragmentation in that kind of early process of connecting with folks, with a lot of different organizations, even the city with our HOT team. I think there was just a lot of confusion. So I'm curious if, at least for this targeted geographical area, if there's been better coordinated outreach, at least from your perspective.
Sure. So I'll start with the outreach question. We have really seen better and improved communication. We have still a lot of opportunities in our community to really enhance the overall approach to outreach. So why I critically like to focus on that one contact, because we can spend a lot of dollars and money and staffing dollars, particularly as a community, on reaching out to people while they're on the street. But if we can quickly get them off the street with one engagement, that's going to be a cost savings that we have through the system. And can we remove those dollars from outreach efforts to housing-focused efforts? So that's really a critical goal that we've had, and we've been working with the Coalition to End Homelessness to try to drive that forward. There's been a number of meetings to bring outreach workers together and do some training and speak about how do you do housing-focused outreach and how is that different from just providing some services on the street. So there is progress being made. I will be honest, it's slow, right? Communication has really improved, but we're trying to change a system that's been in place for many, many years. So it takes time. But yes, there is progress. It's you know, a little bit of progress, but
Incremental,
but definitely seeing some improvement and people getting excited to think about the opportunities, and also focused on, okay, how do we bring those resources so that when we are out on the street, we can talk about housing. In order to talk about housing and move them off the street, we have to have identified housing locations, right? So that's kind of a critical step that impedes like driving that forward. But in the meantime, we have great outreach teams who are supporting folks on the street. And then the Nexus, Okay, the Nexus initiative is a really exciting project. We've partnered with Einhorn. Paul over at Einhorn had this incredible idea of like, let's just find some vacant buildings and repurpose them. Let's show that we can invest just a minimum amount of dollars to make some of these vacant buildings in our community useful for housing. And so the old Fulton Manor is now becoming the Nexus Initiative. So that first building in the front on Fulton Street, where you know all of the development is happening with Hope Network and Eastbrook Commons, we will be in the Van Andel Pavilion. And we will be able to house about 40 individuals who are coming from the streets. And it is really set up to be that immediate kind of emergency accommodation, but then also transition to housing. So each one of those rooms that once served as a facility for persons with memory issues, each one of those rooms has been transformed into a micro unit by Einhorn. There will be shared shower facilities, so there will be some co-housing built within this project. But the real exciting thing is that we're going to create affordable housing opportunities in a building that was sitting vacant within our community. It's also really exciting to know that we have had incredible support from the neighborhood associations and the churches in the area who are really excited about the work that we're doing at the Nexus Initiative. We really intend to have this be a place of community engagement and involvement. Part of our core work is to make sure that people who are transitioning from the experience of homelessness have an opportunity to really engage within the community and build some of those natural supports. So that neighborhood support of our work is critically important. And all of this couldn't have happened with Paul at Einhorn, so we're really grateful for his partnership and his really strong foresight and identifying where is a building that is sitting vacant that we can transform within our city.
Awesome.
Nice.
When is it supposed to open?
Yeah,
Is
so-
it still this fall?
So yeah, construction should be completed in about October. We are not hiring and staffing up until that actual point, so people will probably be moving in towards the end of the year. But October is the end date for construction, and we seem to be on course with that.
Awesome. Member Vandenberg?
Yeah, just a couple questions. So I heard that you're working with Network 180 on provision of mental health services after folks move. What's the status of that?
Yeah, so the plan is that Network 180 will identify a way to have staffing on site whenever we need it. So one of the other critical pieces to our model is that services are voluntary. So it may be that we find we don't need a Network 180 person there every day, but we want to be able to have that direct link to Network 180 so that if their support and their services are needed, they can be in the building. And that is something that Network 180 is working on, figuring out how do they fund that exactly, but they are planning on having staff in the building as needed.
And then two quick questions more. One would just be, first, congratulations on the work. It's amazing work. You're having an impact. Very much appreciated.
Thank you.
As I looked at your chart, I wonder, how does this, I mean, is this a moving target? You get people housed and then we have more that you need to get to work on? I mean, what does this look like in terms of the total population that we're trying to house?
Yeah, so we are like getting this smaller number. The goal though is to have a system within our community where people aren't entering homelessness. So we want to reduce the length of time they're spending in homelessness, and we want to reduce entries into the system. And as we improve other parts of the system, particularly, as many of you know, we're working on a redesign of the coordinated entry system using technology through our Community Housing Connect website that we hope will be live by December at the very latest. All of those critical pieces are really important to making sure, Al, that we don't have more people entering into homelessness, but that we are really getting that number down. And I think we're going to be able to do it with some of these new things coming online over the next year.
That makes sense. Thank you. And then the other one was just curiosity. Are you connected or interfacing with the 100 by 100 initiative?
We are.
Okay.
You know, that is a really important, lofty goal for our community to have. You know, I've been doing this work for a lot of years now, and so I do have some cautions about how do we do this and how do we do it in 100 days. It's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of collaboration and a lot of support. We also have to make sure that once we get those folks housed, that they're able to maintain that housing. So as a partner organization in the community, we are very focused on seeing that project succeed and offering any support that we can to help achieve that goal.
Thank you. I'm done.
I have a follow-up question, sorry.
Go ahead.
So to that end, I'm hopeful that the Nexus Initiative will be able to help fill some of those needs as we look to house 100 people, especially looking at the recent by name list. You know, if we can get as many of those individuals who are on the by name list housed by the end of the year, I think the work that you're doing is going to be critical to make that happen. My last question, and you and I have had this conversation before, you know, we get a lot of calls at the city about individuals who are, who appear to be homeless, and we make a referral, and sometimes I get a call back and say, Mayor, that person's not homeless. They live in a low-income housing project over here, or they live in an AFC home over on Bridge Street. And so I've gotten to know a little bit more about the different dynamics of individuals who we get calls about, quite frankly. I'm curious, is there any effort right now to just provide more education? I think people make an assumption that when they see individuals gathering in certain places, especially public places, they immediately think that they're unsheltered. Often they're not. Mm-hmm. And so is there some education around that in the community and what we can do to help individuals who are unsheltered, get them connected to the right services, but also the individuals who are not unsheltered, but may need other things like mental health support, substance use support. Maybe they're just lonely, they need some social connections where they can go for help?
Yeah. I mean, that is a really important observation, and it is absolutely true that a lot of times that persons are observed on the street and people think they're homeless and they're not. one of the kind of critical things that communities can do to address that is really focus on those people who are living in that. It's often persons who have transitioned from the streets or in affordable housing units and have experienced homelessness in the past. There's often a lack of social supports and natural supports within the community. So that's why it's really critical that we build up their ability and capacity to engage within the community in positive ways. And often that means creating new social networks that they haven't had. If I'm only familiar with life on the street and the population that I've engaged with while I was experiencing homelessness, that's where I'm going to go back to find my sense of comfort. So it really is important to broaden those opportunities for people to engage in supports outside of that environment that are more natural, like who are their neighbors, who are their community, and that's part of why on the front end it's so important at the Nexus Initiative to focus on those neighborhood associations and make it so that it's possible for people to feel comfortable to engage in kind of mainstream resources and supports within the community. So that's a critical piece. The other piece is, we've got to also work on just bashing some of the stereotypes about what homelessness looks like and understand that. And we rely a lot on our Coalition to End Homelessness to do that community-wide education. It's critically important. But we could really address some of that by focusing on those particular housing locations where people reside. And beefing up the supports and the services that are in those communities so that they are focused on building some of those natural supports.
Thanks.
Yeah, no easy answer.
I know, never is.
Yeah.
Anything else? Well, we applaud the great work.
Thank you, and we are proud to do the work and happy to have your support. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next is the Executive Director report. Mr. Kelly.
Yeah. Few things to update you all on. First, just wanted to close the loop on our work on the DDA plan. So we did have that finally approved back on July 12th. So that process is done. Thanks for all your support on that, and to Councilor Wood in particular for helping us shepherd that along. Second, quite a few new art projects have propped up. If you're following us on social media, you've seen some of these, but I just wanted to highlight a lot of the good work that's been happening. And as we wrap up August, a lot of new murals and art installations to go check out. So yeah, go see those. They all look very good. And kudos to our team for all the work that went into those. Also, despite our conversation around the holidays, summer's not over. So we have quite a few events toward the tail end of August and even into September. One of those is our Sunset Cinema series that picks back up on August 31 at Studio Park. We also have Return to the River, which will be happening August 24, 25. Our team is pretty much all hands on deck for that event. So a lot's happening. Starting to release some of the musical lineups and some of the other family activities that'll be happening. So again, social media is your source for that. But if you ever have any questions, let us know. Speaking of the river, there are quite a few things happening this week with consultants in town. So we have a group working on the river art plan. They're actually meeting over right now at the Right Place. And then the O&M study to look at the long-term maintenance of the built-out greenway has also kicked off. That consultant team was in town last week. So a lot happening there. In addition to project updates, so Lions Square continues progress. Last week, trees went in on the western edge, so starting to take shape. We have run into some underground surprises, so we're kind of currently navigating that, but needless to say, there's a lot underground there by way of utilities, and so we're sort of peeling back the layers, but progress continues, and so still, as of right now, we're still on schedule to be done by the end of the year. And then two more things. One, if you were paying attention 2 weeks ago, you saw these renderings come out. So this is what the edge of the amphitheater space would look like as currently rendered. So that is coming together very nicely. Obviously a lot of coordination still working with the city, CAA, to make sure that this area, which will also be an entrance into the amphitheater shown right here, that all these things are coordinated and working together, but starting to look really good and getting excited about that.
Can I interrupt? Sorry.
Please.
Design is 80% done?
Ish, yeah, we'll call it 80 for the record. And then the last thing, just a congratulations and kudos to everyone that worked on the yes vote. Lot of pushing to get that through, and yeah, we're excited to see that vote happen. So thanks to all of you for your work on that. That's my report. Any questions?
All right. On your vitals report, I just have a quick question. Can you remind, look, the resident activity counts? Because it's up 38% from June of, or July of 19. Mm-hmm. What are we counting again? It's not the number of residents, right? How do we?
I'm gonna look to Marion, our data man. She's our placer guru, so she can talk data.
The way that it's counted is via just cell phone tracking.
Sorry, I didn't. No, it's all right.
They're counted via cell phones in the specific districts, the DDA in this case. We've been seeing the resident number specifically go up a lot. The other thing to consider is that it's a lower number overall, so we've got about 6,000-ish residents, so the percentage goes up a lot more than it would for just visitors, for example. But it's not, it is a little bit of just the actual residents living downtown. There are more now compared to 2019, but that percentage will go up at a faster rate than visitors, for example.
Okay. I mean, I like those big numbers.
Yeah.
Does that go up when colleges start to come back?
No.
End of August?
Mm-mm.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean a little bit for the students that live downtown, but not specifically the students while they're in class, for example. Yeah.
And for the purpose of placer, we define downtown as the DDA boundary, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Marion.
Next is the time for public comment. If there's someone in the public that would like to step forward, now is your opportunity.
Hello, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Christina Colby, and I'm the Executive Director of Neighbors of Belknap Lookout. So the DDA actually isn't part of our neighborhood. We go from the Grand River to College and from Michigan to Leonard. So I love the DDA, I love downtown, I love coming here. I went on a run this morning, saw some of those cool new public art. I love it. It's great to see the space activated, and I look forward to pitching some ideas to you in the future for some sponsorship. So just letting you know.
Excellent.
Welcome.
Thank
Good
you.
to have you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to compliment us? All right.
I'll take it.
I know. All right, seeing none, any board discussion?
Chair,
Yes.
can I just bring up a couple things? One, just to let everyone know, last week there was an Eagle public hearing for our Eagle permits for the river restoration for the lower reach. The public hearing went relatively well, mostly positive comments. The Whitewater did a nice job of kind of presenting the overall project. So that is still in process. We are hopeful, fingers crossed, to still be moving mussels yet this fall. Knock on wood. A couple federal permits we have to get through, but still very, very hopeful that we'll be doing the bulk of the beginning of the construction for the lower reach next year. So just a quick update on that. Secondly, I want to follow up on what Al said. If you're not familiar with the 100 and 100 initiative, there is an update on that on Friday, but it might be nice, Tim, to have Ryan or Josh come and just brief this group on that effort, especially as we go into fall and get it launched. I think it'll have a huge impact on especially our downtown area where we see a lot of folks who are unsheltered. And then it would also be nice maybe at the next meeting to talk about next steps with the soccer once the county commission has an opportunity to talk about that at the end of August. August 22nd. And it would be good for this body to have a good sense of timeline and next steps and what we need to do, hopefully to get that moving quickly now that the ballot question passed. So.
We do have a development committee meeting, I
Yeah,
think,
we're-
scheduled, or no?
Being scheduled
Being
before the next
scheduled.
DDA, so we can give an update to the board, and then Mayor, just to follow up, I'm meeting with Ryan on Monday, so I'll invite him to give an overview of the 100 by
Great.
100.
Awesome.
But yeah, things to track for sure.
Work.
Anything else?
Do you want to say anything about these?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
at your places. Lapel pins,
yes.
yeah. We hope you like them.
Love them.
Member Vanderberg is already wearing it, so no pressure.
I like
but
it.
if
Actually,
you're,
looks
if
really
you're so
good.
inclined,
Okay, no problem.
wear the brand. Yeah, just another way to get our new logo out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Question on the logo, so I assume these are 3 building blocks?
Yes.
Significance of a triad of 3 is,
It was more, so I don't know if you recall our old logo, which was very Kubert-esque, multiple blocks. This was an attempt
It was like
to
a stepping
simplify
stone.
it. It helps a lot with just some of our print materials. So it was more of a simplification, but also sort of honing in on some of the color schemes. So no, I don't believe, and our graphic designer might skewer me for this, but I don't think there was a significance around the 3.
You don't think it's DDA, Tifa, and DID?
that's what I was thinking. That's
Well,
what-
but then you missed DGRI, which is
Yeah,
the
but-
4th umbrella. I love the wheels turning, but I don't think that was part of it. I'll confirm it. I'll confirm.
We'll go with that.
No, we'll go with that.
Anything else? All right, we are adjourned. Have a good Wednesday.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Good stuff.